Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today I'm talking about my summer DNFs. So all of the books that I did not finish in the summer months, so June, July, and August. So I only have 3 DNFs, which is pretty good. It's not that many, so this is hopefully going to be a pretty quick video. So I'm just going to talk about them in the order that I read them and tell you a little bit about why I DNF'd it. The first one that I have is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackworth. So this is an adult fantasy about the library of unwritten books in hell. And I was buddy reading this with my friend Jocelyn from Yogi with a Book, and we both ended up DNFing it. So for this, I think that part of what I just didn't like about this was it really wasn't what I was expecting or what I was wanting out of this book. And usually I try really hard to not let my expectations cloud my judgment of a book and just let the book be what it is, but it ended up just not only not meeting my expectations of what I wanted, but also I just didn't enjoy so many aspects of this. But what I had gone into this wanting was kind of like a fun Dante's Inferno, whatever that means. But like I was expecting it to take place primarily either in the library or in hell and go on like shenanigans and adventures through hell. And so we'd get to see different areas of hell, maybe see some demons, and really get to explore this like underworld place, which is really what I wanted out of this. And that's really not what I got from it. Most of it didn't take place in hell. The only part of hell that we got to see from how much of this I read was the library, and even what we saw of the library was pretty small. And so it was mostly taking place outside of that, and then even in the places that we did go outside of the library in hell, I didn't feel like the world building was very well done. They do visit another library in a different underworld or different afterlife, which was really cool, and I loved that idea, but they didn't expand on it, didn't really explore it, and it was just like there and gone in a second. And I really wanted more of exploring this world because that's what I was excited about in this. There were elements of this that reminded me almost of like, you know, a Percy Jackson or like some like Rick Riordan book where it's talking about all of these different mythologies and the different afterlives or underworlds of these different mythologies. And like, I love that idea, but this didn't do the world building and we didn't get the exploration of those places that I really wanted. Also, I was not really like connecting to any of the characters. I really was only interested in Brevity, who is the muse and kind of like the sidekick character. We don't get a lot of chapters from her perspective, and she was the only one that I cared about. All of the other characters felt fairly flat, and this book just had so much missed potential. Like there's so many cool ideas, so many things that could have been done to make this like so interesting, and it could have been really funny and just really fun and entertaining. Like it could have been so good, but I just felt like it missed every opportunity it had to deliver on these great ideas. So that is why I ended up DNFing this book. I got about 168 pages into it, so I was about 50% of the way in, and by that point I was so bored, so disengaged, and so disappointed that I just had to DNF. The next book that I DNF'd was Wizard of the Grove by Tanya Huff. This is actually a bind-up of 2 books. The first one is called Child of the Grove, and that's technically the one that I DNF'd. So this is an adult fantasy that is set in this world where I think like wizards have disappeared, and there is going to be like one last wizard to kind of save the world, and there are like dryads, or like they're these nature like tree spirits. I'm not sure if they're called dryads in this, but I got, how far did I get into this? I got 112 pages into it, and the first book is 260 pages. So almost halfway into this one also. And again, I was very bored with this, but I felt like the plot structure for this was super weird and was actually weirdly similar to how I felt about the plot structure of The Unspoken Name, in that there kept being these storylines that were all backstory to the main plot So halfway into the book, I still hadn't gotten to the main plot, and it was just like the first half of the book were just like these really long prologues that weren't even that relevant, and all of that information I feel like could have been condensed and delivered in a much more concise, pithy, you know, interesting and engaging way, while like getting us to the main plot of the story a lot quicker, because it starts like it starts like multiple generations back, and is like telling the stories of the ancestors of the main character to kind of explain like how she came into being, but it was really not interesting and very unnecessary. But I DNF'd this in July, I think, and someone commented on that video saying that I should give Tanya Huck another chance. This is not her best book, especially because this is the first book that she wrote, so I may be giving this author another chance sometime in the future, but this was definitely not a great place to start with this author. And the last book that I DNF'd was a novella, which is A Taste of Honey by Kai Ashante Wilson. So I got this recently, and this is technically the second book in a novella series, but I had read some reviews that said that you didn't have to read the first novella in order to read and enjoy the second one. So I decided to give this one a chance because this is the one that I have. So this is an adult fantasy novella that is in this world with all of these like politics and gods, but our main character is, I think, a caretaker for like the royal beasts, and then there is a male-male romance between him and a visiting soldier. And I think, for one thing, I feel like the writing style of this just didn't click for me, but I also think I just realized something about my own reading, which is that I should not try to read romance-centric novellas. I can sometimes like romances, I can sometimes like novellas, but I don't think that I should mix those things, because, you know, things just happen so quickly, and that's kind of inevitable. If it's a novella, it's very short. A romance has to be moved along very quickly, and I am not somebody who likes to read about quickly moving romances. I like slow burn romances, and so that just, you know, the romance is very central to, that's the main plot of this, and I just wasn't that interested in it because it was moving too quickly for me. So I think that's just something about my taste in reading, that I need to stop trying to read romance-centric novellas. So those are all of the books that I DNF'd this summer. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye!